सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्. We are in the Charama Shatkam and also the Charama Adhyayam, the concluding chapter and concluding Shatkam. So, in this chapter, in the beginning, Arjuna posed a question. He is trying his level best to seek the answer that he can escape the war. So he is framing the question after the question so that at least Paramatma will give a hint so that he can run away from the war field. So in this chapter, with this idea, Arjuna asked Paramatma, what is the difference between Sanyasam and Tyagam? So Paramatma said, in Sanyasa, you have to renounce Kamya karmas, Nishiddha karmas and Prayaschitta karmas. And you have to perform Nitya Naimittika karmas. This is one opinion. Then there is another opinion. The second opinion is that you have to renounce all karmas, including Nitya and Naimittika karmas. And you have to do Yajna, Dana and Tapas. That means you have to perform Yajna, you have to do charity, you have to do austerity. This is the sannyasam. This is the sannyasam part of it. You have to renounce partly one opinion, keeping the Nitya and Naimittika karmas intact. The second opinion is you have to renounce everything. And in this context, they opined that they have to perform Yajnam, Danam and Tapas. And coming to Tyagam, they said that, the wise people said that Nitya Naimittika karmas they have to perform, but the karma phalas they have to renounce. This is the difference. The renouncing of karmas is sannyasam, renouncing of the karma phala is tyagam. This was the definition given by few scholarly people or few wise people, and according to that we have to see what is the meaning. So this is not Paramatma's opinion. Paramatma said, my opinion is totally different. I will explain you. So from 5th onwards, Paramatma is going to explain what is the difference between sannyasam and tyagam. Paramatma is going to explain this. Paramatma is going to answer Arjuna's question from 5th onwards, from sloka number 5th onwards. So we will see sloka number 5th, the 5th sloka. Yajnadana tapa karma natyadyam karyameva tat yajno danam tapascheva pavanani manishinam. Yajnadana tapa karma. Yajnam, Danam and Tapas. These activities, not Tyadyam, they are not to be renounced. They have to be performed. Tat Karyam Eva. So that those actions one has to perform. It is ordained by Shastra. Yajna means Yajnam. Danam is charity. Yajnam can be taken as daily puja also. Danam or Panchamaha Yajnas you can take. Tapaha, austerity. Eva Manishinam Pavanani. So these are the three karmas, these are the three actions which will purify the sadhaka, purify the seeker. So we will see the Anvaya. Yajna tapakarma na tyagyam tat karyam eva. Yajna danam tapahacha etani manishinam pavanani eva santi. So, three things Paramatma mentioned not to be given up. What are the three things? Yajnam, Danam and Tapas. So they have to be performed at any cost. So these three actions, what will they do? They will purify the mind of the seeker, the mind of the sadhaka. So that is the advantage. So before talking about sannyasam, so we should understand who is going to receive this definition. So this word sannyasa is not meant for, the definition mentioned here is not meant for all. This definition Paramatma is giving to Arjuna, because Arjuna should not run away now. So depending on the audience, the wise people change the definition. Wise people will give the definition. So Shastra will define sannyasam at two levels, depending on the level of the student. Shastra divides the entire human race into two categories. One, those who have acquired jnana yogyata prapti, those who possess matured mind, those who have chitta shuddhi, chitta ekagrata, and the readiness of the mind and refinement of the mind, who can renounce the attachments very easily. The second type of person is having impure mind, asuddha antakarana. So such persons, they are not ready for sannyasam. Majority of the people come under the second category. So mind of a human being is always subject to emotions. Therefore, they are into attachments. They are stuck by the attachments. For some people, they cannot think the life without attachment. They want somebody to lean upon. So they want somebody to whom they can open up and talk very intimately. So such people, they cannot get rid of the attachments. So if one seeks such attachments, they cannot live alone. If such people are left alone, they have to face the psychological problems. If you ask a psychologist, they will say even some sannyasis, they suffer this loneliness, because the mind always seeks attachments. And a person who is having such mind, one should not advise him to take sannyasam. So this Paramatma also knows. So Paramatma said in the 5th chapter, Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogataha yoga yukto muni brahma nachirenadi gacchati. It is very easy to wear acca robes, that is saffron robes, and it is very easy to run away from the house. But to keep up that ashrama is very difficult. Dayanandaji always tells his experience. Before he wanted to take up sannyasa, he went to Himalayas and met many sannyasis. And he shared his opinion to take up sannyasa. And many of them advised him not to take sannyasa. They vehemently said, don't take. We are all suffering. because we have taken up sannyasam. So like that, they dissuaded Dayanandaji. The most important thing is, if one takes up sannyasa, he cannot come back. He cannot leave that ashrama and enter into grihastha. That's a blasphemy. So it is a one-way traffic. One should be very, very careful. If one is not fit enough, he should not take up sannyasa. For many sannyasis, the lifestyle becomes monotonous and boring. They see the same hills, same Himalayas, nothing else they can see. They cannot have a variety of dresses. In the food, there is no change. Morning dal roti and night roti dal. Same thing. If you want to lead the life of a sannyasi, you should have that readiness, the preparedness. So, this is only possible for very, very few people. So, for sannyasa jivanam, for sannyasa lifestyle, you need a special type of mind. Majority of people are not ready for sannyasam. They will simply, for lip service, they will say, I want to take sannyasa. And they have that asuddha antakarana, impure mind. So with this background, we have to see this sloka. Yajnadana tapakarma natyadyam. So, keeping Arjuna's mental state in mind, Krishna Paramatma is advising, you should not give up these three things at any cost. What are the three things? Yajnam, Danam and Tapas. That means Daiva Chintana. You should have the divine thinking, divine feeling and bhakti. So, if you have this, then this will make your mind very strong. So these three things were already explained. These three things were already explained in chapter 17 in detail. So if you don't have a strong mind, you may go to the wrong path. You may take up intoxicating material and you may get into a bad company. In sannyasis also there are, some bad people who resort to all kind of intoxicating things. So, one should be very, very careful. If you want to have a peaceful mind, you should have that bhakti in your mind. So, this is a very, very important aspect. You should not leave these three things. Our country may not be very advanced in technical and other fields, but when you look at the spiritual aspect, this country is very, very advanced. It can promise you a tranquil mind. For those who have a divine mind, even if they have, even if they are in poverty, they will lead a happy life. That is the greatness of our religion. So, this is what we have to understand. Because of the Daiva Bhakti, because of the divine feeling, they are able to lead such a peaceful life in spite of the economical condition. Therefore, Paramatma says, never, never leave yajnam and dhanam and tapas. Never, never leave yajnam, dhanam and tapas. They are very good for spiritual mind. They enhance the spiritual mind and they give you a peaceful atmosphere. So, there is another aspect. Though the country is a poor country, in this country, many people have got this charitable mind. they are ready to do charity. According to statistics, more than 20 to 100 crores people are giving it in the form of donation. If you go to village, a person who is having 100 rupees is ready to give something or other to a sannyasi. When a sannyasi comes and stands before the hut of a very poor man, he will not let him go without taking anything. He will go into his hut and take some money and give it to him. He will not think of tomorrow. So that is the state of mind in villages. But whereas in cities, people are very rich. They can afford to do more charity, but they do not give money. So this is the thing. Our Dayanandaji's personal experience, he says, these people, they go and give money and he doesn't want to take because, they may suffer if they really donate a lot of money. But if he doesn't take, then they feel so bad. So the situation was like that when, he visits villages. And he says the people are ready to do charity. They don't look back. What will happen tomorrow? Tametam vedanuvachanena brahmana vividishanti yajnena danena tapasa. This is a Brihadaranyaka mantra. So this word yajnam, danam and tapas, this is picked up from this mantra in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The third one is tapas. Really, in the 17th chapter, Paramatma explained Yajnam Danam and tapas also. He has given two varieties of tapas, Karana Drushtya Tapaha, Guna Drushtya Tapaha, like that he has given two varieties of tapas. And Yajnam he divided into Satvik, Rajasic and Tamasic. And also Danam. Danam also three varieties, Satvik, Rajasic and Tamasic. So like that, he detailed this Yajnam, Danam and Tapas in a very beautiful way. So, we have to compulsorily continue these things. That's what Paramatma wants us to understand. Karyam eva tat. So, wherever you are, whatever you are, you should continue these three things. So, why you should continue? Because it will give you jnana yogyata prapti. It will make you fit for learning Atma Jnana. So you get qualified to learn Atma Jnana. So if you give any value to Atma Jnanam, if you give value to the Brahma Vidya, then you give value to Jnana Yogyata. If you give value to Jnana Yogyata, then you automatically perform Yajnam, Danam and Tapas. You give value for these three things also. Because of this, Paramatma spared two separate chapters to know or to give us a thorough idea about Jnana Yogyata Prapti. What are all the things you should acquire in order to get Jnana Yogyata? Yajno Danam Tapascheva Pavanani. By doing Yajnam, Danam and Tapas, these three sadhanas, it will purify the mind. Chitta Suddhi you will get. So, if you don't do this with an impure mind, if you want to learn something, it will not allow you to learn Vedanta. So, because you are so emotional, and it will act as an obstacle for you to learn Vedanta. So, this doubt you have, and you understand whether Vedanta is necessary or not, that type of questions you will get if you don't have Chitta Suddhi. The mind is not pure enough. If it is impure, you will start questioning, why should I learn Vedanta? I'm happy otherwise. I get salary every first of the month. My children are happy. They are studying well. And I'm able to eat. I'm able to enjoy also. I'm, really enjoying my life. Why Vedanta? I don't require. So this kind of mindset will be there for majority of the people. But Shastra says that is a wrong approach. That's a big mistake. Vedanta is not for weaklings. Vedanta is not for, people who suffer. It is meant for people who are matured. So, if you don't have that mental maturity, this yajnam, dhanam and tapas will give you that mental maturity. That's what we call the jnana yogyata. So, Manishinam means for an intelligent person. You have to take up all the three in order to get jnana yogyata. Once you get jnana yogyata, then you can leave them. You can leave yajnam, dhanam and tapas. In the same chapter, in 66th sloka, Paramatma is going to tell you, sarva dharman parityajya. That means you can now leave. So you are now fit enough. You have learnt the entire Vedanta. You understood. You are in the Nishtha. Now in this state, at this status, mind state, you can give up. Yajnam, dhanam and tapas. Until then, you have to keep up yajnam, dhanam and tapas. Daily you have to do prayer, daily you have to do prarthana, you have to smear that vibhuti and do yajnam, dhanam and tapas. So, with this context, Paramatma is going further. We will see sloka number 6. Etanyaphi tu karmani sangam tyaktva phalani cha kartavyani iti me partha nischitam matamuttamam. He Partha, he Arjuna, etani. So these yajnam, dhanam, tapas, all the three things, too, in the same way, anyani api, and the other things, karmani, kartavya karmas, the ordained duties, sangam, sangam means without attachment, cha, phalanityatva, and karma phala. You have to do it without attachment to the karmas and karma phalas. Kartavyani, they have to be performed. They cannot be, left out. You have to perform them with some condition. What is that condition? You should do it without having any attachment to the karma phalas. So this is my opinion. Iti me uttamam nischitam matam. This is my firm decision. This is my firm opinion. This is what Paramatma is declaring. Apitu etani karmani sangam phalani cha tyaktva kartavyani iti. He Partha, me nischitam uttamam matam asti. So, these three things you have to do without any exception. So this is my firm opinion. This is what Paramatma is declaring. Etani karmani. So these karmas. What are these karmas? These three karmas, yajnam, dhanam and tapas. Kartavyani. This is a mandate. Mandatory. You cannot escape. So what will be your attitude while doing these three? Sangam Tyaktva, you should not have attachment. If you have attachment, that means I'm doing this for this purpose. You have already fixed some purpose for your karma. You are not doing it with nishkama karma. The moment you start your tapas or yajnam or dhanam, you keep on expecting. When will I get the result? So that type of mind you should not have. You do it without any kamyam, without any desire. Do it with bhakti, and whatever the karma phala comes, take it as Ishvara prasadam. So this will expand your mind, and it will purify your mind, and you will be having chitta suddhi and chitta ekagrata and chitta vaisalyata. So a wise man will always take up these three things: yajnam, dhanam and tapas, and purify the mind. Then he will enter the Vedanta. He seeks a guru and learns Atma Vidya from him consistently for a long time. He does Sravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasana. So therefore, do divine activity without having any attachment. Don't look at these activities as the end. They are only means. So once you have this jnana yogyata prapti, then you can yajnam, dhanam and tapas as the means. Right mind, until you get the right mind, they are very important. Sangam Tyaktva means without having any attachment. Phalanicha, on the karma phalas, you should not have any attachment. So if you take up these three things, you get spiritual punyam and laukika punyam. Laukika punyam means punyam for the mundane affairs. Laukika punyam will give you the promotion. It will give you the mundane success. You may get a huge house. You may get a very big car and a lot of servants. All amenities you will get by laukika punyam. And adhyatmika punyam, spiritual punyam, will give you the internal change, will bring forth the internal change. This is what we have learnt in the 13th chapter. Amanitvam, madambitvam, ahimsa, santi, arjavam, all these qualities we have learnt already. So these things we acquire, Daivi Sampatti. So thereby you get qualified to learn Vedanta. In one word, Punyam will bring forth Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. The spiritual Punyam will bring forth the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. The mundane Punyam, Laukika Punyam will bring forth the mundane success. So, if you have that spiritual Punyam, it will give you a guru, so that you can learn Shastra from him. So this is the advantage. So now what is the difference between a punyam which can fetch you a big house, a punyam which can give you a guru? For both of them you require punyam. Out of these two, the punyam which can give me a guru is superior, because that will give me my ultimate purushartham. That's how I can reach the target. So that's why you are really blessed. You got that spiritual punyam, adhyatmika punyam, and that's why you are getting this knowledge. We are all in the fold of that Guru Parampara, and we are able to acquire the knowledge. So you are really fortunate. That means you have a lot of punyam, spiritual punyam in your bank account. Otherwise, you can't sustain this knowledge for so long. For so many years you are hearing, you are continuing. That means your spiritual punyam is so great. You have got so much of spiritual punyam. If you don't have, then you will run away like any other people. So, falanicha tyaktva, by leaving the benefit, the spiritual benefit, the palancha tyaktva means if you are doing this activity without expecting the result. So here Paramatma is saying even laukika punya you have to renounce. Having known that spiritual punyam is superior, so you have to simply give up the laukika punya. You have to do it without expecting any mundane progress, mundane success. Let the success come to the entire human race. Loka Kalyana. So, this is the attitude which will give you spiritual punya. With this sankalpa, Loka Shreyas, if you seek, it will give you the spiritual punya. That's why in Viveka Chudamani we have learnt Durlabam Trayame Vaitat Devanugraha Hetukam Manushyatvam Mumukshutvam Mahapurusha Samsrayaha. So it is very difficult to get the three things. That is Manushyatvam, to be born as a human being, Mumukshutvam, to seek moksha, Mahapurusha Samsrayam. That means to be or to come under the fold of a great Mahapurusha. So Sankara Bhagavad is in the Viveka Chudamani. He can get Manushya Janma is very difficult. To get Manushya Janma, you have to really toil a lot. So even if you get Manushya Janma, even if you get the human birth, you should have that spiritual bent of mind. If you are materialistic person, the entire Janma is a waste. You will simply while away the Janma, do you take up certain projects and while away the time, and then you pop off one day and you lose that opportunity. Whereas, if you recognize the importance of Manushyatvam, then you come to Mumukshutvam. You know the importance of the fourth Purushartha, Moksham, and you try to learn or move towards the Shreyas. And then you are in search of a Guru who can teach you Vedanta. So once you are comfortable with a Guru, then you continue your study. Before seeking Guru, you should see that whether the Guru is banking on Shruti or not, whether he is following Shruti or telling the Shastra based on his fancy. You should be very careful. Iti nischitam matam uttamam. This is my opinion. That's what Paramatma is saying. So, you should not take this opinion very lightly. Because whatever Paramatma is saying so far, he is basing his logic based on Shastra. Just now we have seen that Yajnam, Danam, Tapas he has picked up from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Whatever is the idea, whatever is the sentence he is picking up, all that is from Veda. So he said that this is a mandate. You should continue Yajnam, Danam and Tapas. What for you have to continue? For your own spiritual growth. So this is what you have to understand. From sloka number 7 up to 9, Paramatma is going to talk about various types of sannyasa, how a sannyasa can be defined. He is going to talk about 3 different kinds of sannyasam and then analyze all the 3. So that's what we will learn in the next class. So basically, in these slokas 4 to 6, 4, 5, 6, Paramatma said that sannyasam word only he picked up. He did not use the word tyagam. Though Arjuna wanted the difference. What is the difference between sannyasam and tyagam? Previously we have seen that there is a difference between sannyasam and tyagam. Sannyasa means some said that renouncing certain things and keeping nitya naimittik karmas. The others opined that you have to give up all the karmas. Even nitya naimittik karmas you have to give up. That's what some other people opined. Tyagam, they said you have to do nitya naimittik karmas with a mindset. You have to renounce karma phalam. If you do it with karma phala, tyagam, then that is called tyagam. Renouncing kamya karma, nishiddha karma and parihara karma is called sannyasa. Like that, they opined. Paramatma did not give this difference. He simply said that you have to take up yajnam, danam, tapas. Not tyadyam. You should not give up these 3 things. That means, according to Shastra, according to Paramatma, whatever Paramatma says, that is all Shastra. According to Shastra, there is no difference between sannyasam and tyagam. Though Arjuna felt that there is a difference. So Krishna Paramatma did not differentiate sannyasam and tyagam. He said both are same and then he continued. In slokas 7, 8 and 9, Paramatma is going to talk about 3 different types of sannyasa. Before we take up these varieties of sannyasas, first we'll have an introduction so that we can understand what are these varieties of sannyasas. So, Paramatma is going to talk about 3 different types of sannyasa. Before talking about a sannyasam, we should know to whom it is intended for. Depending on that, the definition varies. If the person is not matured enough, then Shastra says you have to perform karmas. You cannot take up sannyasa. Because with an immature mind, if one takes up sannyasa, it becomes a blasphemy to the ashrama. Shastra itself will say a sadhaka to perform actions and it will prescribe certain actions as mandatory. At the same time, the same Shastra talks you have to renounce karmas. So, in one place, Shastra says you get married and take up grihasthashramam. In another context, same Shastra says you have to take up sannyasa ashrama. In one place, Shastra prescribes prayers, upasanas, and lot of rituals. In Mandukya, these upasanas are not treated as a high level practice. In fact, Gaudapada addresses them as Krupana, means unfortunate ones. So if you look at Shastra, you see both the sides. Does Shastra talk about contradictory things? No. Shastra, when it is talking about these things, it divides the whole human race into 2 categories. One, those who are refined and ready to learn Shastra, those who have Chitta Suddhi and Jnana Yogyata Prapti, so that they can understand the subject. They have the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. So for such people, Shastra prescribed in one way. There are yet another category of people who are not ready for Jnanam, who doesn't want to take up Jnana Yogam. They are into karmas. So for them, the definition of sannyasa varies. So Paramatma talks about two different kinds of people when he is addressing about sannyasa. So for those who are not having refinement and readiness, the sannyasa jivanam is a very difficult lifestyle. So they cannot live alone. They cannot, be separate from the society. They have to be in karmas all the time. So for such people, if they take up sannyasa asrama, it is a real treachery for them. So people who have, this kind of active life and who have liking for karmas, sannyasa asrama is not at all prescribed for them. So the karmas are three types, as you know: sattvika, rajasika and tamasika. They can be understood as para upakara karma, the actions which are useful and helpful for the society at large, and they yield a spiritual result. They are more focused towards the spiritual growth, not the mundane growth. So definitely, if you take up para upakara karma, that means if you take up the actions which are useful to the society at large, then definitely such person will grow spiritually. And the second type of karma is para udasina karma. Para udasina karma, the para upakara karmas are called sattvika karmas. Then second variety is para udasina karma. These are called rajasic karmas. They don't do any sankalpa to help others. At the same time, they will do it for themselves. They don't contribute to the society. They will not harm anyone, but they will be, doing these karmas for the benefit of their own family members, for their own self. Like this, they will be taking up various activities. So such karmas are called para udasina karmas, and these karmas are called rajasic karmas. They will neither grow spiritually nor will fall down from the spiritual level. They will stay where they are. Then the last and least one is para apakara karma. So these are called tamasic karmas. They do not hesitate to do harm to others. If there is a possibility that they grow by doing harm to others, they will definitely do that, and they try to grow. And these kind of karmas are called para apakara karmas. They are called tamasic karmas. So if a person is not ready, the sadhaka, if the person's mind is not ready, the sadhakas cannot take up sannyasa. So supposing, imagine a person who is not ready to take up sannyasa, who is not having the sattvic mind, he is renouncing the karmas. Supposing he renounces karma, what type of karmas he will renounce? He will renounce rajasic and tamasic karmas. Supposing he renounces karma, what type of karmas he will renounce? He will renounce sattvic karmas. If he renounces rajasic and tamasic karmas, no issue. That is what everybody wants. But these people, they renounce sattvic karmas. So he leaves his family, he leaves the society, and then he goes into the solitary atmosphere, and he takes up the ashrama called Sanyasa ashrama. So he is not ready mentally, and he is not ready by his mental makeup. So there are two reasons why he takes up sannyasa. One is ignorance. The second one is the abhimana towards the body. This type of sannyasa can be categorized into two, tamasic sannyasam or rajasic sannyasam. Then what is tamasic sannyasam? If a person has got tamasika pravrutti, this is a symbol for ignorance. He doesn't do sattvic karma like nitya puja, sandhya vandanam, japam, danam, and the help to society and all that. He doesn't know the importance of these activities because he doesn't see the benefit of the sattvic karmas. He only does the karmas for a mundane result, for fame, for name, and for money. Like that, he used to do that. He doesn't know what is called chitta suddhi. With this kind of ignorance, and if he takes up sannyasa, he doesn't know whether he is deserving to take up that sannyasa asrama or not. So there is a great danger from such people because they hurt themselves and they bring a bad name to sannyasa asrama because they cannot keep up that asrama. So because they have renounced sattvic karmas and they have taken up the tamasic sannyasam, they want to keep away from the family, away from the society and all that. But the mind is always with the family and with his own people. So they are always in the conflict. So such people, if they approach a guru, instead of changing themselves, they try to change guru. So if a person is not ready and if he takes up sannyasa with ignorance, then if he renounces sattvic karmas, then such sannyasam is called tamasic sannyasam. Then the next variety is rajasic sannyasam. So this variety of sannyasi is also not ready. So he requires sattvic karmas, but he renounced them. Here, the reason is not ignorance. He knows the value of sattvic karmas. He is exposed to Gita teaching. He knows sattvic karmas are very important. They give purity of the mind, and he can give lecture also on that. But he doesn't apply to himself. The thing is, he doesn't evaluate himself. He thinks he is fully equipped, but in fact, he is not equipped. Like, some people, they know the advantage and the value of exercise, physical exercise, but they do not have any ignorance about the physical exercise, but they don't do it because they are very lazy and they have this abhimana to the body. They know morning walk is very good. If they do morning walk, they know that they can reduce the weight, but they do not do it because they do not want to strain the body. So even if they want to offer namaskara, they don't prostrate. So the problem is not ajnana. They have got lot of knowledge, but the body will not cooperate with them. They are very lazy people. So, and for this reason, if they take up sannyasa, they cannot manage that ashrama. So suppose somebody says, why don't you go to Sabarimala? Then he will say, I can visualize Sabarimala here itself. Like that, he will give some excuse or other. He will avoid all kinds of things, all do's. So a person who is not ready, that readiness is not there, if his mind is not ready, then his mind is not purified. Even if he takes up sannyasa, it will not give proper result. So, such sannyasam is called rajasic sannyasam. Then comes the sattvic sannyasam. So, a sattvic person, he knows that he is not ready. So, what he does is, so he knows how to improve himself. So, he can approach a guru. If he wants to have moksha, then he should approach a guru and do sattvic karmas and avoid tamasic pravrutti and also rajasic pravrutti. So slowly he can have that mental purity and then achieve the target. Sangam tyaktva. So he will renounce all attachment towards the karmas, towards the actions. Sangam means the attachment, the ties. So he will avoid all ties and attachments towards the karmas. So even if they are sattvic karmas, you should not have too much of attachment to sattvic karmas. Sattvic karmas are required in the beginning to achieve the mental purity. Once you achieve the mental purity, you should not keep on in doing karmas and involved in the karmas. So this is the fundamental rule. Until you get the chitta suddhi, you have to do sattvic karmas. Once you achieve the purity of mind, even you have to renounce the sattvic karmas. Sarvadharman parityajya. That's what Krishna Paramatma is going to say in this chapter. So you should not have tie or attachment with any karma. So all karmas are only means, they are not the end. So with that motive, with that mindset, you have to take up karmas. So this is the idea given by Paramatma. So the sattvic karmas, they will give avantara phalam. Avantara phalam means one direct phalam is you get chitta suddhi. The second phalam is people will respect you. People will say this person is a noble person. He is a man of values, and he is very very helpful for the people at large. He is having a broad mind. Like that, people will always praise you, and sometimes they may give some title also, Padma Shri title and something like that. So one should not be lured by this avantara phalam. One should not be attracted by this avantara phalam and get stuck to sattvic karmas. Once you achieve your target like chitta suddhi and chitta ekagrata, you have to leave the sattvic karmas also, so that you can concentrate more on jnanam and you can acquire atma jnanam and stay in that nishtha. This is the idea. So whatever be the karma you take up should be renounced, if and only if you have the readiness and refinement. That is the prerequisite. The readiness and refinement are the prerequisite for renouncing karmas. Why Paramatma is telling all this? Because Arjuna is not having that mental refinement and readiness. He is only out of anxiety that his grandfather and Guru is going to be killed in the war. He wants to run away from the situation. So, as a last resort, he posed this question about sannyasam and tyagam, and he wanted to get the answer favorable to him from Krishna Paramatma. Krishna Paramatma is a Jagat Guru, so he knows how to tackle the things. So, Paramatma is elaborating all these renouncements into three categories: Satvika Sanyasam, Rajasika Sanyasam, and Tamasika Sanyasam. Tamasika Sanyasam is due to ignorance, ajnanam. Then Rajasika Sanyasam is not due to ignorance, it is, he is having knowledge, but he is misled. He is misled in the sense that he is having the mental readiness and the purity in his mind so that he can tackle the things. So he has not estimated himself properly. Sattvic sannyasam is the proper sannyasam, which is the required situation. Arjuna is not having the sattvic mind, he is having rajasic mind. So Paramatma is not encouraging him to take up sannyasa. This is what we have concluded today. We will take up the three varieties of sannyasa in the next class. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudatyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.